This is 20 Minutes Live. Welcome to all of you from India and around the world. Sorry we started a bit late. We had some technical issues, but we are on now. And I'm so delighted to have Suresh Narayanan with us this evening. Today on 20 Minutes Live, Suresh will share his thoughts broadly on leading from the front. He barely needs an introduction, but just so that you know, he has over 35 years experience in the FMCG industry. He is on the board of Nestle India from since 2015 and is presently the chairman and managing director. He joined Nestle in 1999 as executive vice president for sales, and after that, he's had senior positions in various countries across the world. He has delivered talks at several prestigious forums around the world and has received many accolades in his career. Really an amazing career. Under his leadership in 2019, just as an example, Nestle won the Best Governed Company Award by the Asian Center for Corporate Governance and Sustainability. We are so delighted Suresh found time to be on 20 Minutes Live today. As viewers, all of you are aware by now and familiar, our format is simple, unique, and crisp. Suresh Narayanan will speak for 10 minutes and we'll have a round of Q&A for 10 minutes. But don't wait. This is your chance to ask Suresh Narayanan directly. If you have anything to ask him, put your question in the comments column. As soon as he's done with his first 10 minutes opening remarks, I will take up a question. Thank you, Suresh, again for joining, and over to you for your 10 minutes comments.
Thank you, Ninad. Thank you for having me on your program. My apologies, ladies and gentlemen, for being a bit late. I think technology does get the better of us sometimes. I think what I would really like to leave you, since the format is very crisp, just with five key pointers. Based on my own experience, it is more a personal journey rather than a kind of distillation of literature on the subject. But really, in a crisis, there are five important aspects that you need to take care of. Number one is you have to learn to manage yourself. I think managing the self is more than half the problem. If you are able to manage yourself, manage your emotions, manage your attitudes, continue to be positive, have an attitude of acceptance that this is a crisis. This pandemic is truly a crisis of unprecedented proportions. And if you're able to keep yourself in behavior and in spirit with equanimity, I think you have a great start to leading your team. And remember this, that in a crisis, really what is most important is that you don't run a company, but you serve a family. If you start with that as your starting point, you may not know all the answers. You will only keep asking the questions. But by and by, with the help of your people, you will be able to find the answers. So manage yourself. Second is managing your people. I think the single most important task that a leader has is not maximizing shareholder return at this point in time, or maximizing a stakeholder return, or maximizing a metric that you have in your business. It is managing your people. And that really means to ensure that their safety, their security, their well-being is taken care of 100%. 100%. I think that is the most important aspect of a leader. Why you have been paid to be a leader, your salary and whatever you've been getting comes to roost now, because this is the time when you have to stand up and ensure that your people are taken care of. So whatever may be their worries, if they're worried about their jobs, if they're worried about their salaries, if they're worried about how life is going to pan out, you are not only at this time a boss, but you're also an elder brother. You are also a member of the family, and therefore, as an elder member of the family, you have a very important task to assuage the fears of your people. Because remember, in a crisis, your people have only you to look up to seek help. They have their family members, they have others, but everybody is in a very uncertain mode. You may not again have all the answers, but I think you have to have the spirit and the zest and the desire and the passion for your people. So managing your people is the second most important aspect. And third, managing your partnerships. A business, and I'm talking here about a business like Nestle, for example, we have many thousand partners. We deal with 100,000 dairy farmers from whom we have been collecting milk for the last 60 years. We have continued, ladies and gentlemen, to do that for every single day of this pandemic. Not a single farmer has been left high and dry. He has not been left in uncertainty. And remember that out of 100,000 farmers, 70,000 farmers that we deal with of dairy farmers in the Punjab, they are actually women. They are women dairy farmers. So therefore, it is trust, it is credibility. It is important that the same people who have made you who you are, you stand by them in this crisis. And I think that is standing by, that is ensuring your trust, ensuring your credibility, and ensuring the equity of the organization that has been built up over years. Nestle is 108 years old in this country, and for us, that equity, that trustworthiness is precious. Similarly, you have numerous suppliers, numerous people, partners who are dealing with you for many years. Some of them are very small. Maybe they have exactly two people, or three people, or five people, or 10 people employed. Please ensure that they're also protected. Take the attitude of being a banyan tree if you're a large company, and ensure that everyone in your ecosystem is protected. Because this pandemic will come and go, but your relationships and what you stood for in the time of a crisis will long be remembered. So get remembered for the fact that you stood by your partnerships. So the third one is managing your partnerships. Fourth one, managing your business. I think you know your business well. I don't profess here to be knowing all about your businesses. I know a little bit about my own business. And I think this is the part that needs to be emotion free, because in business you cannot combine emotional decisions, your people decisions, your protection decisions, your partnership decisions, which have been covered in the second and third points, are left there. Here it is all about the numbers. It is about ensuring that you have a team that looks at all aspects of costs, ruthlessly either eliminate or postpone or question each element of cost. Look at your cash flows. I think you are all best judges of what your cash flows should be, because ultimately in this business, when you are facing a serious issue on your revenues, I am fortunately in an industry and in a sector where while we have been impacted, our impact is far less than many of you who are in other industries, especially those of you who are in industries like hospitality, or some of you in the retail business, or indeed some of you in the travel business. I empathize with you because these are very difficult times. You don't have a straight answer to finding the source of revenues. This is a time when you have to take the hard decisions on costs. But I would suggest to you, and it is just a suggestion, you might look at the non-people related costs for pruning and for chopping at this stage. If you can avoid and postpone the decisions that you might need to take on your people, I would urge you to do that. Because for all of us as Indians, our job is not just a remuneration, it is our self respect. And I think you, as leaders of your companies, leaders of your businesses, you have a responsibility to protect the self respect of every person who depends on you for a living. So take care of the business in the most hard-nosed manner by looking at your costs, looking at your cash flows, looking at your inefficiencies, and look at this crisis as an opportunity. I can tell you from past experience of managing crisis that the crisis is the best opportunity to look at the inefficiencies and to look at the low value additions that you're making in a business. This is the time to prune. This is the time to harvest. This is the time to recast. This is the time to recalibrate. This is the time to redirect your business in the manner in which you would want to. Because remember this, the post pandemic situation is not likely to be the same. Some say it might be better, some say it might be worse. I don't know. I don't have all the answers, and neither should I be professing to having any answers. I can only tell you it will be a different world. So, in preparation for the different world, recast and relook at your business. And last point, manage your environment. I think managing the environment and the environmental fallouts of what happens is an important aspect. And you know what your environment is. You know which are the agencies, which are the bodies, which are the stakeholders that you need to take care of. So, managing the self, managing the people, managing partnerships, managing the business, and managing the environment are the 5 points that I would like to leave you with.
Amazing, amazing, Suresh. Five amazing points. I'm really thrilled. I'm sure our viewers are really gained from your insights. I'm going to head straight into questions, and I would urge you to keep them, short and sweet because we have tons of questions. Suresh, we do get a lot of young viewers, and I'm going to start with young viewers first. There are two questions from young viewers. First one is from a couple of startups. They're asking me, what is your advice to startups in this point of time? Whether early stage, late stage, whatever. Generically, what is a startup? Will the same five principles hold, or would you have something additional to tell startup founders?
I think I'll just leave them with two suggestions. Number one is uh, answer two questions. Are you really confident about your business model and proposition? And number two, have you invested in the right people to pull you out of this difficult situation? If you can answer these two questions, then the rest of the questions you will find the answers for.
Okay, great. There are a couple of MBA students who have asked a question, three, four of them. What advice would you give to graduating students of next year? Is there some special skill which COVID has taught all of us as managers, which they need to imbibe? Is there something new they need to learn?
Look, I think this is a very difficult time. I empathize with every young graduate who's coming out of university today and entering the job market. This is a very difficult time. This is a time when I would really urge you to have three characteristics. Number one, have complete confidence and faith in yourself. I think that is extremely important. Number two is be tenacious. Take the jobs that come your way, the perfection you will achieve in your lives. And number three, keep a positive attitude at all points in time. These are difficult times, one understands it, but you have to keep yourself positive because if you don't, then I'm afraid you have only your life to feel miserable about, however, others might empathize with you.
So there's a question, very specific question from Casper. He's saying that there's now a huge boom in e-commerce and m-commerce because of this crisis. How important you think, and he's asking particularly in Nestle's context, is data analytics?
Well, I think data is a new oil, as has been said. So I think it's very clear that use of data analytics, use of analytic systems, artificial intelligence, machine learning practices, these are all extremely important in the context of every organization, large or small. Especially for a large organization, which we tend to be having numerous kind of silos that get built up over a period of time, the power of analytics cannot be understated. So, if you really are looking at building careers in analytics and in the use of data to enable efficient decision systems, you probably are in the right track.
So Ashish Kapoor is asking a simple question: what makes Maggie tick? How is it so popular? What is the what is your secret sauce? You have to tell them now.
The I think Maggie's saga has been the enormous love that consumers have given it. I mean, the fact is that it's a much loved product, but there are a lot of loved products in this market. It is the absolute emotion, devotion, passion that people have shown for this brand, and especially I must say that when we went through the tough times, it was our consumers who stood by us. So I am when I am eternally grateful to them for having stood by the company, stood by the brand when we were being trashed, and I think that love and that connection is what makes the brand tick.
So, just a follow-on question by some viewers, and I'm sure you've been asked this so many times. You're the man who successfully led Nestle out of the massive Maggie crisis. Uh, just some pointers, and more importantly, one question an HR person is asking is, was how difficult is it now to handle your people in the current crisis vis-a-vis it was when you handled only on the people part the Maggie crisis? People
Look, I
handling
think
it.
firstly, Ninad, I want to communicate through you to the person who set me out to be a hero in this entire Maggie crisis. Look, I am only the pivotal point. I provide the glue in the organization, but the efforts and the achievement is of the thousands of people who work in this great company. So therefore, it is their achievement, and I am here to share the story with you and to share the insights with you. I think ultimately the one big lesson that we have learned is that culture matters. It is not capexes that matter; it is culture that matters. So therefore, we have built a culture. It is a family culture. It is a respectful culture. It is an ethical, honest culture. It is a very middle class culture. We are all very middle class people, leading middle class lives with very middle class aspirations. So I think it has made my task so much easier. And I must say that having been through that Maggie crisis, which was in a sense a galvanizing moment, this crisis, we using the same principles of culture that we have used in the past. And I must say that my people are doing magic, are really doing magic. I mean, every day, the kind of achievements that they're doing, I'm really, I'm stunned. I'm inspired by what they do.
So Tirath Nakwekar is from Goa. He's an entrepreneur, MSME entrepreneur, a very enthusiastic person. He's saying, has COVID-19, surfaced the importance of EQ compared to IQ? Has EQ now gaining prominence compared to IQ?
Look, I
In
think I think every and in every stage, Ninad, for a leader or for anybody who heads a team, EQ and IQ have been important. I think the importance of culture, the importance of values, the importance of purpose, the importance of ethics have always been there. Always been there. The only tragedy is that if you are trying to invest in it now during the crisis, I'm afraid it's a bit late.
right.
अब पछताए होत क्या जब चिड़िया चुग गई खेत. So now turning around and trying to say I will create the enabling culture. If I have not believed in values, if respect and dignity is not important to me ever, it will not suddenly become important to me. So I think for leaders, EQ and IQ has always been important. Those who have practiced it are reaping the fruits of it.
Sandeep Gupta is asking you, it's a little personal question and you may have want to respond it. Do you ever get worried or scared about your decision? Because your impact is on a large family, Nestle family, ecosystem, partners, people livelihood. Your decision could impact massive number of people. Do you ever get worried, scared? Do you ever lose sleep at night at some decision?
Look, no, you see, because one of the things that I do is that I believe in is that I work to my conscience, I work to my values, I work to my principles, and within these borders, if I take a decision, I have absolutely no kind of sleepless night over it. My only worry is keeping my people safe. And that is where, when this pandemic gets really virulent, that is my biggest fear. My biggest fear is my people have to be safe. I should not take any decision that is throwing them in harm's way. And that is where I am, maybe also because of my age and experience, I am a bit more conservative. I'm a bit more paternalistic. Maybe I'm a little bit more kind of careful. But it's fine, and that's the price my Nestle colleagues have to pay for having an older, more mature leader.
Right, right. So Narayan Pasari is asking any specific advice to millennials, who are graduating. And there's one more question, so that both you can take one after another, not related. MSMEs, are struggling, and of course, in the Nestle ecosystem, I'm sure there are a lot of MSMEs. Finance is the main problem. Any tips or advice you want to give to any both these groups, millennials and MSMEs?
Let me take the MSMEs one. I think MSMEs. You are absolutely right, Nina. They are the ones that are suffering the most, and most of Indian industry is MSMEs. Let's be very clear about it. I think what we have done as a company is two or three things. Number one is, during this pandemic, to provide them a lot of training in security, in sanitization, social distancing, manufacturing practices, because that's what we are good at, and that's what we have world class capabilities for that. So that's one. Number two, we have ensured that every single one is paid on time. Number three, in some cases, we have given them advance orders and also advance payments to take care of their working capital needs. So we have tried to protect them as best as we can. Talking of millennials, I think what I would just urge them is number one, to be positive. Number one, number two, to look at life in perspective, and number three, to never lose confidence and never indulge in self-doubt or self-pity. Don't allow this to come into you into your lives. The minute you start pitying yourself, the minute you start doubting yourself, that is the beginning of the end. You have a unique set of skills as a human being, and you capitalize on it, and you will get the opportunity for it.
Fair enough. I'm going to ask just last two questions. So, viewers, if you have any question, this is your last chance to ask Suresh Narayanan. I'm going to take one question and then maybe take another. So, Suresh, there are a lot of changes which have happened. Work from home. Now, we are both speaking like this on home. People are adopted, embraced m-commerce, e-commerce. Post-COVID, what do you think will happen? Are these changes permanent, mainstream, or will there be a hybrid model?
I honestly believe. I honestly believe, Ninad, I speak more from a consumer centric company. So I speak more for my kind of companies. I think we will have a hybrid model. I cannot imagine 100% of Nestle being 100% to work from home for all times. We are consumer centered. We need to meet people. We need to discuss. We need to have rap sessions. I think there is no substitute to it. So it will be, and building of culture and experiences is with storytelling, and storytelling in a human form is always far better than over a digital line. So I think it will be a mixed model. I hope because companies' longevity will be built by human to human contact and not by virtual contacts. Can you imagine, Nina, having 30-year careers or 10 years careers or 5-year careers where you don't meet anyone, and every day you're coming on to a iPad or to a desktop and talking to someone? I think it's a crime. It's a crime.
True. So I'm going to ask you a last question, and then maybe if you want to have some closing summary comment, then wind it down. And this question has come with some viewers. They're asking if there are some tough decisions to be taken. You mentioned that people cost should be the last you should look at and be humane. But if there are, some company may be forced to take some tough people decision. Do you have any words of advice? Because this gentleman he's not put his name, seems to have be facing that conundrum. Are there any words of advice on HR?
Sure. I'm sure. I don't want to profess to being messianic in my statements. But the fact of the matter is, yes, some of you will have to face very bitter truths about letting go of people. My only advice to you are two things. Number one, please be transparent with them. Call them, talk to them. Call them and talk to them. Don't send them an email. Don't send them a Facebook post. Don't treat them. Human beings want to be treated with dignity and respect. So number one, transparently communicate to people your decision. And number two, if you're giving a severance package, please keep it as per the law, and please be dignified and respectful to the people. People will get over this one day. What they will never get over is the way you made them feel. And I think that is your job as a leader. So be transparent, be trustworthy, and be respectful.
So my very last question, and then you can provide a summary comments. Is this situation generally, not for Nestle, generally for businessmen, an opportunity or a threat?
I see it. Honestly, I've seen every crisis as an opportunity since I've been through numerous crises. Well-intentioned, well-positioned, well-directed, and companies with the right head and heart, this is an opportunity. For opportunists, it may not be the case.
Okay, but for good people, it is an opportunity. Would you like to give some 1 or 2 minutes closing comments before we totally wind it down?
Well, firstly, let me express my delight, Ninad, to be on your program. My apologies once again for being late on the program, but I hope I've made up in terms of whatever little I've had to share. I would only say, I think at this time, manage yourself. That is number one. Keep your spirits positive, keep your mindset positive, keep your attitude positive, keep your outlook positive. It's very easy for us to get into a defeated mode. We are hearing a lot of bad news. Every day is full of bad news. Find out those 5 minutes of time when you look at positives in your life and thanking for the blessings that you have received, and be in gratitude for the people who have made your life and contributed to your life. I think this way, my friends, we will tide over this very difficult circumstance, and hopefully there will be a rainbow at the end of this very dark cloud.
Okay, hopefully there'll be a rainbow. We all hope so. I can't let you go with my very last question, and a little bit personal, if you don't mind. 4 months of lockdown. I know you're a busy person in terms of the responsibilities you have. Is there a new hobby which you have picked up, or a new habit which you have picked up in the last 4 months?
Actually, two things. One, I've learned to read the new. I mean, this may look to you very silly, but it was a big thing for me. I've learned to read the newspaper on the iPad. So that is one.
Okay.
I was very much a paper man. I needed the newspaper in my hand. Now I'm managing to read it on my iPad. I'm very happy with it. I know what to do with it. That's one. And number two is I've also learned, albeit very poorly, I've learned how to wash vessels. So I've learned to help my wife in the kitchen, albeit in a very limited sense, in a very limited way. But I've learned that you have to keep washing the bloody stuff till it becomes clean, and I think that's a big task. But I now appreciate the effort that goes into it.
Thank you. Thank you. That's viewers. That's it. Suresh, the leader, and Suresh, the person. Little bit of insight. You gave some fantastic responses. Your 5 initial remarks, comments are very, very good. Thank you, Suresh Narayanan, for joining us today on 20 Minutes Live. We are delighted. Thank you, viewers, for tuning in today. Remember, every Thursday, 20 Minutes Live at 5 p.m. Sorry. Thank you, Suresh. Thank you again.
Thank you. Thank you, Neelat. Thank you very much, and good luck and all the best to all the people who have joined in today. I thank you. I'm grateful for your time, and good luck to you. Thank you.
Thank you.